The stars glimmered like tiny jewels scattered across a black velvet sky. In the quiet of the distant galaxy, the human fleet drifted silently among them. Ships of all sizes hovered around the colony planet of Arden 5, humanity's newest attempt to expand its reach beyond the solar system. Life here was fragile, and the people had worked tirelessly to build a home among the stars. Yet far beyond the human outposts, an observer watched them with a mixture of amusement and disdain. Zira, the alien overlord of the Vril, floated in her massive command vessel, her eyes glowing like liquid amber. Her presence alone made even the strongest human warships seem like mere toys. The Vril had conquered countless species across multiple galaxies. Entire fleets had fallen before her, and worlds had surrendered without a fight. Yet here, in this quiet corner of space, she noticed humanity for the first time. "They call themselves warriors," Zira said, her voice smooth and almost melodic. Her words carried through the communication channels of her vessel, though none could hear them. Fragile, emotional creatures daring to call themselves fighters. How amusing. Back on Arden 5, Commander Elias Kane paced in the central command room of the human fleet's largest ship, the Resolute. His uniform was simple, marked only by the insignia of humanity, but his eyes carried a determination that few could match. Humans had never faced a threat like this before. Zira's ships dwarfed theirs in both size and technology. Weapons that could obliterate entire cities in moments were at her command. And yet Elias refused to let fear dictate humanity's response. "Reports confirm," said Lieutenant Mara Voss. "Elias is second in command. Zira has destroyed 3 colonies in this sector in the last month. Her forces are unmatched. We cannot hope to match her strength." Elias shook his head, his gaze fixed on the holographic projection of Zira's fleet hovering above the screen. "Strength is not just about weapons, Lieutenant. Strength is about heart, and humanity has heart in ways she will never understand." Mara's brow furrowed. "With all respect, sir, she could annihilate us in minutes. Even the bravest hearts might not survive her attack." Elias's lips curled into a faint smile. "Bravery is not measured by survival alone. It's measured by willingness to fight for something greater than yourself. That is what she has yet to see." Meanwhile, Zira hovered in orbit around Arden 5, her ship's sensors scanning the planet. Her amusement grew as she observed the humans preparing their defenses. Unlike other species, they were slow, methodical, and emotional. Their commanders debated endlessly, their engineers worked frantically, and their soldiers trained with visible fatigue. Zira found it laughable. "They think they can face me," she whispered. "They are nothing but insects on a leaf, trembling and buzzing." And yet, she paused, curiosity flickering in her glowing eyes. "There is something different about them. Something persistent." Zira decided to send a message. It would be her challenge, a demonstration of power and a warning. Holographic projections of her face appeared above the human fleet's central command screens. Her voice echoed, amplified through every channel. "Humans," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You dare build colonies in my sector? You dare call yourselves warriors? I have conquered countless species, and yet you think yourselves worthy. You are weak. You are fragile. You are beneath me." The room was silent. Some soldiers looked down at their consoles, shaking with fear. Others gritted their teeth, unwilling to show their panic. Elias stepped forward. His gaze did not waver, and his voice, though calm, carried authority. "I hear your words, Zira," Elias said, "and I accept your challenge. But know this. Humanity does not fight like others you have faced. We fight for more than conquest. We fight for each other. We fight for life, and that strength is something you will never fully understand." Zira's lips curved into a faint, mocking smile. "Very well, human. You shall send your champion. One among your species must face me on the battlefield. If he or she fails, your colony and your species will belong to me." Elias's heart did not falter. "We will send someone," he replied. "Someone who embodies humanity's spirit. And when they stand against you, you will see what we are capable of." The Human Council met in secret afterward. Engineers, strategists, and military leaders argued over who should represent humanity. Many suggested a veteran soldier, experienced in combat and trained to perfection. Others proposed a scientist, someone clever enough to outthink a being like Zira. Elias listened quietly, considering every option. Finally, he stood and addressed the council. "We do not need someone who merely follows orders. We need someone who can think, adapt, and inspire, Someone who will not break no matter the odds. "I will go." Gasps echoed through the room. Some council members protested. "Sir, it is too dangerous. You cannot face her alone. Even the best warriors would be destroyed." Elias's expression remained firm. "I am not just a warrior. I am human. And that is the edge we have over her. We are unpredictable, creative, and resilient. I will go because no one else can lead humanity in a way she cannot anticipate." Outside, Zyra watched the humans with mild interest. She had expected them to be easily intimidated, to crumble before her might. Yet here was a human stepping forward not in fear, but in defiance. A small flicker of curiosity entered her mind. Perhaps they were worth observing after all. Back on Arden 5, Elias prepared himself for the journey ahead. He visited the training grounds where soldiers were honing their skills, offering words of encouragement. "Courage is not the absence of fear," he told them. "It is acting despite fear. Remember that because we all fight together, even if only one of us faces her directly." The engineers provided him with upgraded armor, modified weapons, and a specially designed ship capable of maneuvering in ways Zyra would not expect. Every detail mattered, every calculation was precise. Yet Elias knew that the greatest weapon he had was not the technology, but the human spirit. On the eve of the battle, Elias walked through the colony. Children played under the glow of artificial lights, families prepared for the night, and the hum of human life filled the air. He stopped for a moment, gazing at the stars. Somewhere out there, Zyra watched, laughing at what she thought were weak creatures. Yet Elias felt no fear. He whispered to the night, not to anyone in particular. "Let her watch. Let her see what we can do." As the sun rose over Arden 5, the human fleet prepared to launch. Ships lined up, engines humming with power, weapons locked and ready. Soldiers stood at their posts, hearts pounding, yet eyes shining with determination. Elias climbed aboard his ship, the Vanguard, knowing that this was not just a fight for survival, but a fight to prove humanity's worth. When he entered the command center, he activated the communication channel. "Zyra," he said firmly, "I am here. Let the battle begin." A silence followed, broken only by the soft hum of human engines. Then across the void of space, Zyra's voice returned, calm yet tinged with intrigue. "Interesting," she said. "Perhaps I underestimated you. Very well, human. Show me what your species is truly capable of." The stars seemed to shimmer brighter as the two forces faced each other. On one side, an alien overlord whose power had never been challenged. On the other, a human commander, small but unyielding, carrying the hopes of an entire species. And so the stage was set. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity's first true test against Zyra had begun, and no one yet knew what would happen when heart and courage faced unimaginable power. The sun's first light glimmered across the metallic surfaces of Arden 5's colony ships. The human fleet hovered in formation, engines humming with quiet power, and the planet below seemed to hold its breath. Commander Elias Kane stood at the bridge of the Vanguard, staring at the distant shadows of Zyra's fleet. Each ship was larger, faster, and deadlier than anything humanity had ever faced. Yet Elias's heart was steady, fueled not by arrogance but by belief in human potential. "Sir," Lieutenant Mara Voss spoke, her voice cutting through the quiet. "Recon reports indicate Zyra's forces are fully operational. They are expecting an attack." Elias nodded. "Good. That means we have a chance. When she expects a direct assault, we give her something unexpected." Mara raised an eyebrow. "You really believe humans can outsmart her?" Elias smiled faintly. "Humans are unpredictable. That is our advantage. Machines, strength, technology, they can all be measured. But creativity, courage, those cannot be calculated." Down in the fleet's engineering bay, teams worked tirelessly to upgrade the ships. Weapon systems were enhanced, shields strengthened, and new technology was installed to create unpredictable effects in battle. Engineers collaborated with scientists to design small drones that could infiltrate enemy systems, disable key components, or create distractions. Every addition reflected human ingenuity. Among the engineers, Dr. Lynn Harrow adjusted a drone's navigation system. "If our calculations are correct, these little devices can slip past Zyra's sensors even in the middle of combat. They might give us a few seconds of advantage." A young technician laughed nervously. "Seconds might not be enough if she hits us with that energy cannon." Dr. Harrow smiled. "Seconds can make all the difference. That is how humans survive, by making every moment count." Elias moved among the crews, offering encouragement and insight. "Remember," he said, "our strength is not just in our ships or weapons. It is in our unity. Each of you has a role, and together we are greater than the sum of our parts." Meanwhile, Zyra observed from her command vessel. The alien overlord was growing curious. Humans were preparing in ways that did not follow predictable patterns. Unlike other species she had conquered, these humans did not simply line up for battle or surrender. They were thinking, adapting, and most importantly, they were willing to fight despite knowing the odds. "They may be weak individually," Zyra whispered, "but their determination, it is unusual. I must watch closely." Elias spent hours reviewing simulations with his tactical officers. Every possible scenario was analyzed, every weakness identified, and every strength reinforced. Yet he knew that strategy alone would not win the day. Humans relied on instinct as much as planning, and he intended to use both. "Commander," said Tactical Officer Reza Malik, "our simulations show that Zyra's fleet can destroy us within the first 15 minutes if we attack directly. We need a diversion." Elias's eyes lit with determination. "Then we do not attack directly. We strike from the shadows. We use her expectations against her. Let her believe she has the advantage, and then we show her she does not." At the same time, Elias began personal training. Even as a commander, he needed to understand the limits of his own body and mind. In the human military, leadership was not just about orders, it was about example. He ran drills, practiced evasive maneuvers in zero-gravity simulators, and worked with the engineers to understand the capabilities of the vanguard. His determination inspired those around him. Soldiers who had feared the coming battle found new courage. Scientists who had doubted humanity's chances worked with renewed energy. Even the technicians, who usually avoided combat strategy, felt the weight of purpose. Elias's belief in humanity was contagious, and it spread through the fleet like wildfire. One evening, as the fleet orbited Arden 5, Elias walked alone to the observation deck. The stars stretched infinitely, and Zyra's dark shadow could be seen hovering in the distance. He closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of the people he had left behind on Earth, of the colonists on Arden 5, and of the countless generations who had dreamed of reaching the stars. "Whatever happens," he whispered to himself, "we will show her what it means to be human." The next morning, Elias called a meeting of the fleet's leadership. "We must be ready not only to fight but to survive," he said. "Zyra is powerful. She will expect fear, hesitation, and surrender. We will give her none of these. Instead, we will give her ingenuity, courage, and the relentless spirit of humanity." He unveiled the plan. The human fleet would split into several groups, using smaller ships to draw Zyra's attention, while the vanguard and specialized units executed a coordinated strike. Drones would infiltrate enemy systems, creating chaos and distraction. Hidden defenses on Arden 5 would activate at the right moment, offering temporary shelter for civilians and soldiers alike. The plan relied on precision, timing, and trust in one another. Mara looked at Elias, concern in her eyes. "It's risky, sir. One mistake and we lose everything." Elias nodded. "I know, but humanity has never survived by avoiding risk. We survive by daring to try, by finding solutions where none seem possible. And we will face this challenge together." Meanwhile, Zyra observed every movement. Her amusement had not diminished, but she was beginning to notice patterns. Humans were cautious yet bold, calculating yet unpredictable. Unlike any species she had faced, they did not collapse in fear. They adapted, improved, and worked together. For the first time, she felt a sense of respect or perhaps curiosity for these creatures. "They are not insignificant," she said quietly, almost to herself. "They may yet surprise me." As the day of confrontation approached, Elias spent time with his crew, listening to their concerns and sharing stories of courage from human history. Soldiers remembered battles on Earth, pioneers who had crossed deserts and oceans, scientists who had defied impossible odds, and ordinary people who had performed extraordinary acts of bravery. Elias reminded them that these stories were not just history. They were part of the human spirit that lived within each of them. The night before the battle, Elias walked through the colony one last time. Families gathered in safe zones, children clutched the hands of parents, and the hum of human life continued despite the looming threat. He paused to look at a small garden, artificial lights illuminating green plants carefully nurtured in the artificial soil. Life persisted here, fragile yet determined. "Humans are remarkable," he whispered, thinking not only of the colonists but also of his crew, his fleet, and his species as a whole. "We adapt. We survive. We rise." That night, Elias slept little. His mind worked tirelessly, imagining every possible scenario, every potential outcome. Yet despite the weight of responsibility, he felt no fear. Fear was a natural emotion, but it was not what defined humans. Courage, determination, and the will to act, that defined them. At dawn, the fleet moved into position. The stars sparkled above, and the silence of space seemed almost sacred. Then from the darkness ahead, Zyra's fleet appeared, larger and more imposing than anything humanity had ever encountered. Her ships gleamed with alien technology, energy weapons glowing ominously, and her presence radiated power. The human crews held their ground. There were no cries of panic, no signs of despair, only determination. Elias activated the fleet's communication channel, addressing his crew and the humans watching from Arden 5. "Today, we face a test unlike any we have known. We are small. We are few. But we are human. And that is a power no alien can calculate or control. Stay strong, work together, adapt, and remember, we fight not just for survival but for hope, for life, and for everything that makes humanity who we are." Mara's voice came through, steady and calm. "All units, prepare for engagement. Follow Commander Kane's orders. Trust in each other." The fleet moved forward. Small human ships darted from shadow to shadow, drawing attention, while the vanguard and specialized units prepared to strike. Drones launched from hidden compartments, slipping toward Zira's fleet with quiet efficiency. Human ingenuity was at work everywhere, a network of courage, calculation, and creativity. Zira's laughter echoed faintly through the void, amused at the apparent weakness of the humans. Yet as she observed their movements, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. These creatures were not predictable. They were resourceful, coordinated, and fearless. Perhaps she had underestimated them. Elias watched through the bridge's viewing window, the stars reflecting in his eyes. "She thinks she knows us," he whispered. "She has no idea." And for the first time in centuries, Zyra realized that the humans she had laughed at might not be so easily defeated. The battle had not yet begun. But hope, determination, and the human spirit were already rising, shining brighter than the stars themselves. The human fleet moved like a living organism through the void of space. Small ships darted between the shadows of asteroids and remnants of destroyed satellites, drawing the attention of Zyra's massive fleet. Each maneuver was calculated, precise, yet unpredictable, a reflection of human adaptability and ingenuity. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, eyes fixed on the holographic displays that mapped Zyra's positions. He felt the tension in his chest but did not allow it to control him. Every breath, every movement, every decision was deliberate. Humanity had never faced such a foe, but it was not fear that drove them. It was courage, teamwork, and determination. "Sir," Lieutenant Mara Voss spoke urgently, "Zyra has detected the smaller ships. They are targeting us directly with energy cannons. Impact in 30 seconds. Elias's hand hovered over the controls, calm and deliberate. Divert power to shields and adjust trajectory. Let them focus on what they see, not what they cannot." The energy beams tore through the darkness, striking empty space where human decoys had been sent. The small ships moved like shadows, weaving unpredictably, while drones slipped through the gaps, silent and invisible. Below, on the colony of Arden 5, civilians watched from hidden shelters. Families clutched one another, hearts pounding, yet hope glimmered in their eyes. Children, unaware of the full scale of the battle, played quietly, their laughter a fragile testament to human resilience. Back on the Vanguard, Elias coordinated with the engineers. "Deploy the drones. Stick to the plan. Target their communication arrays first." Dr. Lynn Harrow's team activated the drones. Tiny vessels no larger than a human hand slipped past Zira's sensors and moved swiftly toward the alien fleet. They bypassed shields, entered the control systems, and created disruptions in communication. Alarms blared aboard Zyra's ships as her crew scrambled to respond. "Impressive," Zyra murmured, her eyes narrowing. "They are clever, but cleverness will not save them. Elias smiled faintly. Cleverness alone is not enough, he whispered to himself. It is courage combined with unity that makes us strong. As the drones wreaked havoc, human ships seized the opportunity. They launched coordinated strikes, focusing on weak points in Zyra's fleet. The alien vessels, large and powerful, could not respond as quickly as the humans anticipated. A small cruiser collapsed under the precise barrage and another was forced to retreat. Zyra's amusement began to fade. She had expected the humans to falter instantly, to break under pressure. Instead, they adapted, coordinated, and pressed forward. Each success, small as it was, chipped away at her confidence. On the vanguard, Elias's voice carried calm authority. All units, focus on coordination. Keep moving. Trust your instincts. Trust each other. The fleet moved like a single organism, human ingenuity shining in every maneuver. One small ship, piloted by Lieutenant Malik, executed a daring loop around a massive alien destroyer, firing a sequence of energy charges that disabled its weapon systems. Malik's crew cheered briefly before returning to formation, proud yet disciplined. Meanwhile, Elias faced Zyra directly. Her flagship loomed like a shadow, massive and imposing. Energy beams lanced toward the vanguard, forcing evasive maneuvers. The alien overlord's power was immense, her technology far beyond human capability. Yet Elias remained composed. He had studied her patterns, observed her strategies, and anticipated her reactions. Predictable, Zyra said, her voice cold and precise. You are clever, human, but this ends now. Elias's hands moved quickly, adjusting shields, deploying countermeasures, and directing small strikes. Cleverness alone is not enough, he said quietly. But adaptability and courage, those are strengths you cannot measure. The battle raged across space. Energy beams tore through darkness, explosions lit the void, and the hum of engines filled the silence between the stars. Human ships moved unpredictably, weaving between debris and using asteroids as cover. Drones infiltrated enemy systems, disabling weapons and creating confusion. Zyra's frustration grew. She had conquered countless species, yet these humans were different. They did not panic. They did not falter. Instead, they adapted and worked together, using ingenuity to exploit weaknesses even in her advanced technology. Elias noticed a small gap in Zyra's formation, a narrow corridor between two massive ships. He saw the opportunity. Prepare the strike team, he ordered. We move through that gap. Focus all firepower on her central command vessel. Timing is critical. The smaller ships adjusted position, following Elias's lead. Drones continued their infiltration, creating additional distractions. Zyra's attention was split between multiple threats, each one testing her focus. For the first time, she felt the strain of managing a battle where her power did not guarantee victory. The strike team approached the gap. Every movement was precise, every action calculated. Elias's voice guided them through the comms. Steady focus, trust in yourselves and each other. This is the moment humanity shows its strength. As they entered the corridor, Zyra's flagship turned its weapons toward them. Energy beams tore through space, narrowly missing the human ships. Explosions rocked the strike formation, yet the humans pressed forward. On board the Vanguard, Elias activated a hidden system designed to exploit Zyra's own technology. Tiny projectiles, guided by advanced AI, disabled key energy conduits in her ship. Alarms blared. Systems faltered. The alien overlord's confidence wavered. Impossible, Zyra exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief. These humans, they should not survive this. Elias remained calm, eyes fixed on the holographic display. Survival is not enough, he said quietly. We fight to show our strength, our unity, and our courage. The humans pressed their advantage. Small ships targeted weak points. Drones disrupted systems, and the Vanguard moved with precision. Zyra's flagship staggered under the coordinated attack, its energy shields flickering. Outside the fleet, the colony of Arden 5 watched with hope. Families remained hidden, yet they could see the flashes of energy and explosions in orbit. The humans had not surrendered. They had not fled. They fought with courage, determination, and ingenuity. Zyra's laughter faded. She had expected weakness, fear, and surrender. Instead, she faced creatures who refused to yield, who adapted to every challenge, and who worked together with relentless determination. Elias saw an opening. A narrow corridor in Zyra's formation allowed for a direct strike on her command core. This is it, he said to his team. Execute the plan. Trust in each other. Humanity will be remembered for its courage today. The strike team moved with flawless coordination. Energy beams struck precise targets. Drones disabled defensive systems, and the vanguard maneuvered with skill and precision. For a moment, time seemed to stretch. Every action, every decision, every movement mattered. Zira's shock was evident. She had never faced a foe so determined, so unpredictable. Her systems faltered, her ship staggered, and for the first time she questioned her own power. Elias's voice carried calm authority. "We do not fight because we expect victory alone. We fight because we must, because that is who we are. Humans do not yield to fear. We rise above it." With a final coordinated strike, the human fleet created a gap in Zira's defenses. One of the smaller ships breached the energy barriers, targeting the command core directly. Explosions rocked the alien flagship, systems overloaded, and alarms blared. Zira's expression shifted from amusement to disbelief, then to grudging respect. She realized that the humans she had laughed at were not weak, not predictable, and not helpless. They were strong, not just in technology or strategy, but in spirit, courage, and unity. Elias watched through the viewing window, calm and focused. He had not underestimated the alien overlord, yet he had used every tool, every tactic, and every strength humanity possessed to exploit a single truth. Courage, ingenuity, and teamwork could challenge even the mightiest foe. The battle was far from over, but humanity had proven its resilience. The smallest ships, the drones, and the vanguard had shown that even against overwhelming power, humans could adapt, fight, and survive. Zira's laughter, once a weapon meant to intimidate, had vanished. In its place was curiosity and respect. For the first time, she understood that these humans were different from any species she had faced. Elias turned to his crew, calm but resolute. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Stay focused. Stay united. We have shown strength today, but the fight continues. Humanity will not falter." Outside, the stars shimmered. The human fleet moved like a living organism, alive with courage, ingenuity, and determination. And far beyond the battlefield, Zira observed, her confidence shaken, her perspective altered. The humans she had mocked were not just warriors. They were a force to be reckoned with. The battlefield had begun, and humanity had already shown that its spirit could shine brighter than any star. The void of space was filled with energy blasts, streaking lights, and the hum of human and alien engines locked in deadly pursuit. Commander Elias Kane gripped the console of the Vanguard, eyes scanning every display, every sensor. Zira's fleet was massive and powerful, yet for the first time, hesitation flickered across her command signals. Humanity had not only survived the initial assault, they had adapted, struck with precision, and forced her to react. "Sir," Lieutenant Maravos said urgently, "Zira is redirecting multiple ships toward our position. She knows we are striking her core." Elias's gaze remained calm. "Good, that means she respects our strategy. Now we use her respect against her. Divide and distract. Draw her attention away while the main strike unit moves forward." In the human fleet, ships split into smaller groups, darting unpredictably around the massive alien vessels. Drones infiltrated systems, shutting down weapons, scrambling sensors, and creating chaos. Engineers on the Vanguard monitored every signal, sending rapid updates to the pilots navigating the battlefield. Zira's frustration grew. The humans were clever, yes, but she had expected to crush them with overwhelming power. Her energy beams tore through empty space. But the ships she aimed for were rarely where they had been a moment before. Every attempt to adapt to the humans' movements met with another unpredictable counter. "They are not as fragile as they appear," Zira admitted, her amber eyes narrowing. "They fight with determination, with unity. Fascinating." Elias observed her fleet carefully, calculating the best moment to strike. "Patience," he murmured. "Patience and precision. The moment is near." Then a signal arrived from a hidden drone in Zira's flagship. It had bypassed her security systems and mapped the internal energy conduits. Elias studied the display. "There," he said, pointing to the core junction. "That is our target. We disrupt it and her fleet loses coordination. We do not destroy her, just show her that humanity cannot be controlled." Lieutenant Malik piloted one of the small ships toward the narrow gap in Zira's formation. The vessel moved with agility, avoiding energy blasts and weaving through debris. "Steady," Malik muttered, gripping the controls. Almost there. Zyra, sensing the movement, diverted energy to intercept. Beams of pure energy lanced toward Malik's ship, threatening to obliterate it instantly. Yet using human ingenuity and timing, Malik's vessel darted into the shadows, invisible for just enough moments to reach the target. The drone attached itself to a critical energy conduit. Sparks flew as the alien systems overloaded, alarms blaring across the flagship. Zyra's eyes widened in shock. Her ship shuddered, some faltering in the void. "Impossible," she exclaimed. "These humans, they are too clever." Elias smiled faintly. "Cleverness is one part," he whispered. "Courage, teamwork, and heart are the rest." With the conduit disabled, human ships moved in coordinated strikes. Drones disrupted communication systems across Zyra's fleet, creating confusion. Energy weapons misfired, shields flickered, and the massive alien ship struggled to respond. Each small victory gave the humans more confidence and forced Zyra to reconsider her approach. "Sir," Mara said, tension in her voice, "we have openings. Her fleet is disorganized. We can press the advantage," Elias nodded. "Exactly. But we do this carefully. We are not reckless. Precision, focus, and cooperation." The Vanguard moved closer to Zyra's flagship. Energy blasts tore through space around them, but the human ship remained agile, weaving unpredictably while releasing countermeasures. Drones continued to infiltrate, disabling weapon systems and creating distractions. Zyra's expression hardened. "They fight as one," she muttered. "Their strength is not just technology or numbers. It is unity, spirit, and courage. Remarkable, but still insufficient." Elias activated another system, a hidden network of magnetic disruptors designed to interfere with Zyra's energy weapons. Beams that had once threatened to destroy the Vanguard began to falter, losing focus and sometimes missing entirely. Small ships moved with greater freedom, striking precise targets across the alien fleet. For the first time, the human forces were not only surviving, they were dictating the battle's flow. "Focus all firepower on the flagship," Elias commanded. "Timing is everything. Wait for the moment when her defenses are weakest." The humans continued to press. Small ships attacked from multiple angles while drones disabled systems from within. Zyra's attention was split between multiple threats, each one testing her focus and patience. The alien overlord realized that her usual tactics of intimidation and sheer power were not enough. "You are persistent," Zyra said, voice almost begrudging. "Perhaps stronger than I expected. But one cannot rely on persistence alone." Elias's eyes narrowed. "It is not persistence alone. It is intelligence, courage, and unity. Those are human strengths." The battle reached a critical point. Zyra's flagship faltered as her internal systems struggled under the combined assault of drones, strikes, and magnetic disruption. Small ships targeted weak points with precision, creating openings that Elias had predicted. Every movement, every calculation, every action brought humanity closer to victory, not by brute force, but by ingenuity and spirit. "Prepare the final strike, team," Elias said calmly. "We move now. This is our moment." The strike team, coordinated perfectly, moved through the gaps in Zyra's defenses. Energy blasts tore past them, debris floated in the void, and every human ship pressed forward without hesitation. Elias guided them personally, his calm presence inspiring confidence. Inside the alien flagship, Zyra's expression shifted from frustration to disbelief. The humans were not breaking. They were adapting faster than she could react. Her energy beams faltered, systems glitched, and her fleet lost coordination. "This cannot be," she whispered. "They are extraordinary." Elias watched the core junction appear on the display. "Now," he said, "execute." The strike team focused all firepower on the critical nodes. Drones infiltrated internal systems, disabling defenses while the Vanguard maneuvered with precision. Energy beams struck key conduits, causing sparks, explosions, and temporary shutdowns. The alien flagship shuddered and alarms blared. Zyra's shock was evident. She had faced countless species, yet none had challenged her in this way. Humans were clever, resourceful, and fearless. They had turned the battlefield into a demonstration of ingenuity, courage, and unity. "Humans," she said quietly, almost to herself. "You are different. You are unworthy of attention." Elias's crew cheered silently. Their coordinated effort had created the first real advantage against Zyra. Yet Elias remained calm, eyes scanning for the next move. "This is not the end," he reminded them. "The fight continues. Stay focused. Humanity's strength is far from exhausted." Small ships continued to strike at weakened points. Drones infiltrated more systems, and the vanguard remained agile, dodging energy blasts while delivering precise counterattacks. Zyra's fleet was in disarray, struggling to respond. On Arden 5, civilians watched cautiously from shelters. They could see flashes of light in orbit, explosions that lit the darkness and small signs of victory. Hope flickered in their hearts. Humanity was fighting back, not as isolated individuals, but as a unified force. Elias's voice carried through the comms. "Remember this, everyone. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it. Adapt, cooperate, and believe in each other. That is what makes us human." Zyra, observing from her command deck, realized that her previous assumptions about humans were wrong. They were not fragile, they were not predictable, and they were not weak. Their strength lay in heart, mind, and unity. For the first time, she faced the possibility that she could be bested not by raw power, but by the indomitable spirit of a species she had underestimated. Elias directed the strike team with calm precision. Every movement, every action, and every decision reflected humanity's greatest qualities: courage, creativity, and determination. The alien flagship staggered under the assault, systems failing, energy weapons misfiring, and coordination collapsing. The tide of battle had turned. Humanity, against overwhelming odds, had not only survived, but had gained the advantage. Zyra's expression shifted from arrogance to grudging respect. She had laughed at humanity's warriors, expecting easy conquest. Yet here they were, undaunted, clever, and unified. Elias looked at the fleet, his voice steady and inspiring. "This is only the beginning. Humanity has shown its strength, but the challenge continues. Stay united, stay focused, and remember, we fight not just for survival, but for the spirit that defines us." In the darkness of space, among stars that seemed to shine a little brighter, humanity's warriors had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the most powerful of foes. Zyra's laughter had vanished, replaced by curiosity and respect. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned, and the humans had shown that they were not to be underestimated. The void of space was alive with movement, energy, and determination. Humanity's fleet, battered but unbroken, pressed its advantage against Zyra's massive armada. Commander Elias Kane stood at the helm of the vanguard, eyes sharp, mind calm. The alien overlord had underestimated humanity, and now she faced the consequences of that misjudgment. "Sir," Lieutenant Mara Voss reported, "her flagship's core systems are unstable. The shields are fluctuating and several weapon arrays are offline." Elias nodded. "Excellent. That is our chance. Prepare for the final strike. Focus on precision. We do not destroy. Our goal is to show strength, ingenuity, and spirit." Human ships darted between debris and energy blasts, coordinated perfectly with drones infiltrating Zyra's systems. Every strike, every maneuver, every small victory contributed to a larger plan, one designed not to annihilate, but to prove humanity's resilience and intelligence. Zyra, in her massive command vessel, watched with a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. Her amber eyes flickered as systems failed one by one. "These humans," she whispered, "they are unlike any species I have faced. Persistent, clever, fearless, remarkable." Elias activated the final system, a network of synchronized magnetic disruptors, drones, and energy pulses designed to exploit Zyra's temporary vulnerabilities. The strike team, composed of the most skilled pilots, maneuvered into position, weaving between energy blasts with skill and focus. "Steady," Elias instructed calmly. "This is our moment. Humanity will show its strength." The first wave of drones infiltrated Zyra's flagship, shutting down defensive nodes and weapon arrays. Explosions flickered across her hull, systems overloaded, and energy shields faltered. Zyra's face, once filled with amusement, now showed concentration and for the first time a hint of respect. "They are extraordinary," she admitted quietly. "How can such fragile creatures display such skill and courage?" Elias smiled faintly. "Strength is not just in size or firepower," he whispered. "It is in courage, unity, and ingenuity." The strike team moved closer to the core junction, each pilot coordinating with Elias through precise comms. Small ships darted unpredictably, making it nearly impossible for Zyra's fleet to respond effectively. Every energy blast she aimed faltered or missed entirely, thanks to countermeasures and human ingenuity. "Now, execute the plan," Elias commanded. The strike team focused all firepower on the critical nodes of Zira's flagship. Energy pulses from the Vanguard synchronized with drone attacks and human ships, striking at weak points simultaneously. Sparks flew, explosions rocked the vessel, and alarms blared. The massive flagship shuddered, unable to maintain stability. Zira's expression shifted from shock to disbelief. "No, these humans, they cannot be this clever. How is it possible?" Elias remained calm, guiding his fleet with unwavering focus. "It is not magic, Zira. It is humanity. Unpredictable, courageous, and united. The alien overlord attempted to regain control, redirecting power to weapon arrays and shields. But her systems were already compromised. Drones disrupted communications, human ships exploited openings, and the Vanguard maneuvered with unmatched precision. Each move reflected humanity's greatest strengths: intelligence, courage, and cooperation. On Arden 5, civilians watched the flashes of light above, the distant energy explosions, and the movements of the fleet. Hope surged through them. Humanity had survived the initial onslaught, and now they were showing not fear, but determination. "Sir," Mara said, her voice steady, but filled with awe. "We are breaching the core junction. The system is vulnerable." Elias's hand hovered over the controls. "Prepare the final maneuver. Focus all remaining energy on coordination. Timing is everything." The strike team advanced, weaving between the collapsing defenses. Each small ship fired at precise locations. Drones infiltrated critical nodes, and the Vanguard delivered energy pulses designed to destabilize Zira's flagship temporarily. The alien vessel shuddered violently, systems failing, energy beams misfiring, and structural integrity compromised. Zira's eyes widened. "Impossible. They are stronger than I imagined. Clever, determined, unstoppable." Elias activated the final sequence, a synchronized pulse designed to overload specific systems without causing lasting damage. Sparks flew across the flagship. Energy conduits flared and alarms blared. Zira's fleet staggered, unable to maintain focus or coordination. The alien overlord realized she had misjudged humanity entirely. "This species, they are not weak," Zira whispered, her voice now calm, almost reverent. "They fight not for power or conquest, but for life, unity, and courage." "Fascinating." Elias addressed his fleet calmly. "Hold formation. Maintain focus. Humanity's strength is not just in battle, it is in our spirit. Show her that we fight with heart, ingenuity, and unity." The human fleet pressed the advantage. Small ships targeted weakened points. Drones continued to infiltrate, and the Vanguard moved with precision, dodging blasts while delivering calculated counterattacks. Every human action reflected teamwork, courage, and intelligence. Zira, for the first time in her long life of conquest, hesitated. She had faced countless species, but none had challenged her in this way. Humans were not only clever and determined, but their unity and courage made them unpredictable. She had laughed at humanity's warriors once. Now she could only watch, fascinated and respectful. Elias turned to Mara. "Prepare to engage directly. This is the moment to demonstrate that humanity's warriors are not just fighters. They are thinkers, innovators, and fearless in the face of overwhelming odds." Mara nodded. "Understood, sir. All units execute final strike." The strike team moved with flawless coordination, targeting Zira's core systems. Energy beams and pulses struck simultaneously, exploiting every weakness. Drones infiltrated further, disabling remaining defenses. Zira's flagship shook violently under the relentless, precise assault. For the first time, Zira experienced uncertainty. She realized that her power alone could not guarantee victory. Humanity's resilience, creativity, and courage had created a challenge unlike any she had faced. Elias's calm voice guided the final maneuvers. "Steady, precise, united. Humanity's strength is in our heart and mind. Show her what we are capable of." The final strike was executed flawlessly. Energy pulses synchronized with drone attacks, small ships, and the Vanguard's maneuvers. The alien flagship shuddered, systems overloaded, and for the first time Zira felt genuine surprise and respect. "They are incredible," she whispered. "I have laughed at them, but they are different, stronger than I imagined." Elias watched the battle unfold, calm and determined. The alien overlord was not destroyed. Humanity did not seek needless destruction. Yet Zira's forces were incapacitated, her fleet disoriented and her confidence shaken. Humanity had proven its strength without annihilation, demonstrating intelligence, courage, and unity. "Fleet," Elias said over the comms. "Hold position. Maintain focus. We have shown our strength. Humanity fights not to destroy but to survive and prove its spirit. This is our victory." The human fleet held formation, weapons ready but no longer striking. The alien forces, staggered and struggling, hesitated. Zira's gaze rested on the vanguard, and for the first time she acknowledged humanity's warriors not with ridicule, but with respect. "You have surprised me," Zira said quietly, her amber eyes meeting Elias's through distant sensors. "Humans, you are clever, courageous, and united. I see now why you should not be dismissed." Elias's lips curved into a faint smile. "Respect earned, not given. That is humanity's way." Zira slowly withdrew her fleet. She had not been destroyed, but her confidence was tempered. She had learned a lesson she would not forget. Humanity's strength lay not in size or firepower, but in heart, ingenuity, and unity. On Arden 5, humans celebrated cautiously but with pride. Families emerged from shelters, children laughed softly, and soldiers shared quiet smiles. Humanity had faced an overwhelming foe and survived, not through sheer might, but through courage, intelligence, and determination. Elias stood on the bridge of the vanguard, looking at his fleet and at the distant retreating alien armada. "This is more than a battle won," he said. "It is a testament to what humanity can achieve when we stand together, think creatively, and fight with courage." Mara nodded. "They will respect us now, sir. Even Zira understands that humanity is not weak." Elias's eyes lingered on the stars. "And this is only the beginning. We have shown strength, but the journey continues. Humanity will explore, grow, and rise among the stars, and no one, no alien, no force will underestimate us again." Far away, Zira observed humanity's fleet from a distance. Her laughter had vanished, replaced with thoughtfulness and respect. She realized that humans were unlike any other species she had encountered, clever, determined, and united. They were warriors in every sense, not just fighters but thinkers, innovators, and protectors of life. The stars twinkled above Arden 5. Humanity had not only survived, they had triumphed in a battle that seemed impossible. And in doing so, they had proven what many had suspected all along, that human courage, ingenuity, and unity could stand against even the mightiest of foes. Elias looked at the horizon of space, calm but resolute. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species that would never be underestimated. Humanity had fought with heart, with intelligence, and with unwavering